could go wrong? We're not saying this is what happened. What could go wrong? Is there any way to determine that?
Well, not yet. But, I mean, if you take a look at the angle of descent, it tells you that something pitched the airplane down. The only thing that can do that is in the tail, the horizontal stabilizer in the tail. And if the autopilot malfunctions, if the trim system malfunctions, and it results in pitch down on the airplane, that would certainly describe what we see in those very few seconds of descent.
Wow. Arthur, you keep a plane at this airport, is that correct?
Exactly. I'm flying out tomorrow morning.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Tell us about the environment of the Northeast Airport. It's all private planes, small private planes?
Yes. It's not a commercial service there. Right. There are a lot of private planes there, a lot of jet planes that are owned privately. It has a lot of traffic from people who are coming into Philadelphia or transiting Philadelphia, as this aircraft was. The airport has terrific facilities in terms of runways and instrument procedures and things of that nature. And, of course, right on takeoff, you would go to Philadelphia Approach Control, which is located at the big airport, and they would be telling the pilots to climb to the next level of altitude. Normally it's climb to 2,000 and then 4,000 and then 7,000 beyond that for a while.
Arthur, what do you think the first thing investigators will be doing as they attempt to manage this chaotic scene right now? What's first and foremost on their mind?
Well, this is going to be tough because, first of all, obviously the damage that has resulted from this crash is horrendous. So it's going to be extremely difficult to find the failed part, if there is a failed part. However, there are two things that might be helpful right away. One is if the crew communicated some difficulty to air traffic control, and that would be Philadelphia Approach Control, because they would have been on that frequency at the time. And the second thing is the cockpit voice recorder, because that Learjet 55 would have been equipped with a cockpit voice recorder.
But you're saying in that debris field, though, that could be very, very difficult to go through and find what they might be looking for.
The aircraft was full of fuel. You can see the large fireball. And the impact was horrible. At almost a 45-degree angle down in a Lear 55, it would have hit the ground at probably 400 knots.
Arthur, how often are these planes, the smaller planes like this Learjet 55, I believe it is or was, how often are they inspected? What is the process there? How does that work?
Well, there's a rigid inspection program that's established by the manufacturer, and owners are required to comply with those inspection procedures, and they're usually sufficient to avoid...
We have been watching our local CBS News coverage on a small plane crash in Philadelphia. It took off from Northeast Philadelphia, from the airport there, for Springfield, Missouri, and our station there reports that this was a private medical transport plane that went down. We know at least 2 people were on board. We're hearing reports of injuries on the ground. CBS News transportation safety expert and analyst Robert Sumwalt joins us now. He's also former chair of the National Transportation Safety Board. Robert, very early on here, we're still getting information in. What will emergency crews and investigators be doing in these first stages?
Yeah, the biggest challenge right now is to extinguish the fire and make sure that the area is safe.
We know some of the conditions. It was rainy at the time. We also know that the crash happened only minutes after takeoff. We've been hearing coverage that means that the fuel tank will have been full. What else does that tell you?
Well, you're right. It's a big fireball. And so I think that, the challenge, of course, is going to be to find any black boxes that might be on board the airplane. And they can usually survive a big inferno, but that will be a challenge, I think, initially.
Of course, our viewers will be used to hearing talk of black boxes. Why is that so significant in an investigation like this?
If it's a cockpit voice recorder, it provides the most direct evidence of what's going on inside that cockpit. So that one is key. The flight data recorder records hundreds or thousands of flight parameters. And so both of those are critical to unlocking these mysteries.
Okay, important data there. So small plane crashes, we know, are a little more common than commercial crashes. This year, there was a crash in California last week. Days earlier, a single-engine plane crash in Nevada. Why do we see this happen more frequently?
Well, there's a different standard, regulatory standard, for commercial airlines versus general aviation. General aviation is everything other than military or airlines. So the regulatory requirements are not as stringent. The maintenance requirements may not be as stringent. The pilot training requirements may not be as stringent. So that is one factor, about three factors right there.
Okay. Some people may be watching this. They may be feeling very disconcerted. Obviously, this happening 2 days after such a tragedy happening near Washington, D.C. What is your message to people?
Well, flying certainly on an airline is very, very safe. And I say that in spite of the disaster that occurred 2 nights ago. Even general aviation, like we're dealing with here in this particular crash, is pretty darn safe. But be selective about who you're flying with. If you're going out for general aviation, make sure that you know who you're flying with and that the airplane is well maintained. I think those are important factors to consider.
Anything else you think we should know here in these initial stages?
Well, it is all initial. And so usually what I've found in my 15 years at the NTSB is that whatever we hear now is probably going to be inaccurate. So just let the facts settle down a bit, and then the facts will emerge.
Robert Sumwalt, thank you so much. We are going to take you back now to our local CBS coverage.
Well, perhaps if they communicated with air traffic control their dilemma, we'll learn more. But this is an extremely unusual set of circumstances.
It really, really is. You mentioned disorientation. How critical is that? Because I hear that a lot when it comes to tragic events like this and how it sets in. How do you prepare for something like that, or can you?
Well, here's the bottom line. If you're flying a Learjet, that means that you have been type rated in the airplane, and that is as in all jets. All pilots who fly jet airplanes are what are called type rated, and that's an extensive schooling process. It's an extensive testing process, both practical testing with an examiner in the airplane. It's also something that occurs annually, and you can't be the average Joe to fly a Lear 55. I can tell you right now, that is a very substantial airplane to fly. Plus, there are 2 pilots on this airplane.
Right.
So, and that means 2 sets of instruments. So each pilot is checking what the other pilot is doing, but he's got his own set of instruments. So, for example, if the pilot's artificial horizon failed, which is a possibility, the co-pilot's got his own artificial horizon. So that the typical way it's done is you hand it off to the pilot not flying if your instruments fail. And that's one thing that's unique in a lot of respects about some of these smaller jets that were certified a long time ago. They were never certified for flight by one pilot. And this particular company, I believe, flies 2 pilots all the time.
All the time, okay.
So that means whatever occurred had to overcome both of them.
Arthur, if you could, in layman's terms, you mentioned the term artificial horizon. Explain that to us.
Well, when you have bad weather like this, you obviously can't see out the window, so you have no idea of where the natural horizon would be, where the sky meets the earth, right? And so all airplanes are equipped with what's called an artificial horizon. It's a mechanical device that provides you the same information that you would see if the weather were good and you were looking outside. The good thing about it is at nighttime it gives you that horizon even if you couldn't see it at night. And in bad weather it gives you the same information. So it's a vital part of two parts of the airplane. One, the pilot's ability to fly, especially in bad weather. And 2, it drives the autopilot. And so if the artificial horizon fails and the autopilot fails because of it, then the airplane can react suddenly and unusually. That's what brings me to this description of the 45-degree angle of descent.
Right.
Pilots don't fly that, and airplanes don't fly that if the pilot is inadvertent. And these pilots clearly were not inadvertent. They were well trained and experienced. But if the autopilot fails and pitches the nose down, if the tail fails in some fashion, meaning it doesn't give them pitch control, and the airplane starts to descend, remember, he's only probably at 5,000 feet maybe, and he's coming down, it looks to me like maybe 4,000 feet a minute. He's only got 15, 20 seconds to do something.
Oh, my. Oh, my. And all this occurred just moments after takeoff, because if I'm correct, this area we've been talking about is less than 5 miles away from the airport.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the area that you fly over when you depart. I grew up in that area. It's very dense, and I would expect to see a number of casualties from the explosion. As they say, the airplane's full of fuel and thousands of pounds of fuel on board. So that's all been blasted in the area and exploded, as you can see. So I would expect to see lots of damage to both property and people.
How long can that jet fuel burn, Arthur, do you think?
Well, it goes out pretty quickly. Believe it or not, jet fuel is not as volatile as regular gasoline. So it goes out pretty quickly. The reason you see the huge fireballs, because the fuel does what's called misting. In other words, when the airplane strikes the ground or some other object and the fuel tanks are compromised, the fuel mixes with air, and that becomes the explosive mixture that you see in the explosion that's so visible.
After this explosion, I would imagine some people could have been hit by some of that fuel, other than debris from the plane or any building that it may have hit. But that fuel probably spread quite a distance as well, wouldn't you think, or no?
Yeah, I would think so. There would be fiery fuel that would be thrown into the air. I mean, this is a horrible, horrible tragedy that people certainly don't expect to be participating in as a victim. And thank God it's a rare event. Unfortunately, right on the heels of the even more tragic events in Washington. But the pain is real. This is a horrible, horrible experience for everyone. I didn't mention it, but I feel it from the minute I saw it. The pain that these four families must be experiencing,
for sure,
knowing this, and it doesn't help them, but my heart and my prayers go to them.
Arthur, we're showing, if you can stay with us, we're showing some ground video now from our photographers on the scene of some of the aftermath of this explosion. You are looking live right now at this area in Northeast Philadelphia, just across from the Roosevelt Mall, where this plane, this Learjet 55, went down. And, well, I'm just looking at the devastation right now, windows blown out. The emergency crews are on the scene. This, as you said, is a chaotic and just awful, awful situation. You never, never, ever want to see this. But this is reality right now, tonight. And I understand. Arthur, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. We will get back to you a little bit later this evening, I'm sure. As I've been mentioning throughout the evening, our Carrie Corrado has been on her way. I believe she has finally made it, maybe can provide her viewpoint of what this tragedy is all about. Carrie?
Yugi, good evening. It is pure chaos out here. People are everywhere. Emergency responders are everywhere. Everywhere we look, we can see flashing lights. Also, if you look up into the air, if we tilt our camera up just a little bit, you can see the smoke still billowing into the air. It may be hard to see because it's dark, but as we mentioned, police say a plane crashed at Cottman and Roosevelt Boulevard. This entire area is gridlocked. Streets and roads are blocked off, and we were rerouted all over the place, so it took us a while to even get to this point. Keep in mind, this area, it's heavily populated. There are businesses and homes everywhere, so it was all hands on deck when this plane went down. It's also raining, so investigators and emergency responders are battling through the rain, but overall they are very busy trying to process this entire scene. People are out everywhere, and we're trying to speak to people in the area about what they saw a little while ago. Yuki?
Carrie, when you arrived, did anyone come up to you and just say what they saw before you had a chance to get your camera and the microphone together? What was the reaction of people from your immediate arrival?
Yuki, the moment I got here, I was speaking with people, and they say that they saw the plane go overhead, and then all of a sudden they saw a big fireball. They said they could even hear a loud bang. So, of course, a lot of terrified people in this area after watching that and hearing that. So their stories were pretty remarkable to hear.
Carrie, we were just talking to Arthur Walk, an aviation expert and a pilot who has a plane out there, and he was talking about the jet fuel aspect. And we were talking about how that jet fuel could probably, no doubt, spread across the area, and maybe that part of the story could affect some of the neighbors there in that area, some of the communities. Can you smell any of the jet fuel, anything that smells like gas, or is it just the burning, the explosion that is still in the air?
Yuki, we get little waves of smelling gas or jet fuel, as you said, but overall we can just smell a faint smell of smoke in the air as we can continue to see that smoke billow into the air behind me.
Okay, I want you to go do your thing and get some reaction from people. Find out, if you can, about any injuries, how people are doing tonight in the community, and if any information about the people on board that plane that went down. We're looking at the video right now that went down at 06:07 tonight. If you can get that information, we will get back to you shortly this evening. Carrie Corrado live on the scene in Northeast Philadelphia. Thank you, Carrie. We have another piece of information from the new United States Transportation Secretary. Sean Duffy just posted on X, and I'll just read it to you. He says, quote, "I am monitoring the crash in Philadelphia and heading to the FAA to gather more information." We want to get more information right now. I understand our Siafa Lewis is standing by with that. Siafa?
Hey, Yuki, we are here on Common Avenue, about, I'd say, half a mile from where I believe that plane went down this evening. I did speak to a gentleman who is a tow truck driver. He was across from the scene. He said he saw the plane come down. He wasn't sure what it was. Obviously, he was startled by it. He saw there was a massive, big explosion, and then he was startled and he started running in the direction where I'm standing right now. He also added that there were some human remains that he saw in the middle of the street down there. So it's just a frightening, horrible, horrific situation here in the Northeast, as you might expect, as you would expect, Yuki.
All right, Siafa, thank you so much. I mean, I'm just looking behind you and just the flashing lights, the EMTs on the scene. I have never seen anything like this before. None of us have, that's for sure, in our area. What was the immediate reaction when you arrived on the scene? Were people in a panic state? Tell me more about when you first got there.
It took us quite some time to get here, Yuki, as you would imagine, at that time of night. I mean, we got here about 7 o'clock. Traffic is very congested in this area. We parked about, I'd say, a block and a half away and made our way to this point, which is as far as we could go. There are some people standing on the periphery, big crowds to my left and further behind me as well. Big congregated crowds, but just a lot of confusion, I would say, at this point.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Siafa Lewis, thank you so much. We will get back to you as well throughout the night to try to gather as much information as you can. And Grant, as we're looking at the scene right now, the streets are just wet, so the investigation probably, hopefully, isn't being hampered too much by the weather right now. Do you think it will stay this way throughout the evening while this investigation continues? We need to get your mic up. Hold on. Hold on. Could we get Grant's mic up? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's up.
So, Yuki, I mean, we're not going to be out of the rain probably for another 3 or 4 hours or so, but there is heavier rain just south of where all of this is unfolding, but it doesn't look like any sort of relief from that steady rain that's been in the area pretty much all day long is going to let up. I do have the radar pulled up if we want to look at that, just to show, generally speaking, what has been moving through the area. It's that the green there is sort of transparent, so you can still see the streets below. But it's light rain right now, and I'll zoom out, and the labels will fade a little bit, but you see there's that yellow just to the south. So it's a steady rain moving through. You saw Siafa with the raincoat on. The roads are wet out there. It's not cold per se. Temperatures are in the upper 40s right now. There is more rain moving in from the southwest, actually moving over Center City, Philadelphia right now, moving toward the northeast. So we could still see some heavier rainfall arrive before it lets up, but it's probably not going to be until probably closer to midnight, Yuki, until the rain starts to move out.
The investigators will need all the help they can get when it comes to getting to the bottom of this situation and checking on everyone. Once again, the debris fields everywhere in Northeast Philadelphia. Some people have been hit by debris. We understand several people were on this plane, this Learjet 55 that just took off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, and just moments after takeoff, it went down on a 45-degree angle. And that meant trouble, according, of course, to a gentleman we just spoke with, the aviation expert and pilot Arthur Walk, who joins us many times during tragic situations like this. He also has a plane at the Northeast Philadelphia Airport. Here's the angle that plane went down on. That was something he didn't want to see, something none of us wanted to see, that the way that plane went down, and then the immediate fireball and mushroom cloud as we come up on 8 o'clock. Just a reminder right now for our viewers, we're going to stay on top of this and continue our coverage right now, but we also want to tell you that if you're looking for local programming, you can find that on Philly 57, regular programming on Philly 57, regular CBS programming. We have some new video into us, and I'm once again just looking at it as you are looking at it live at this point. This is tape video of the explosion when that plane, that Learjet 55, went down. This is from another Ring camera in Northeast Philadelphia in the neighborhood. People closer to that mushroom cloud that you're looking at right now in the middle left of your screen said their homes just shook when that plane hit the ground. That plane was a medical plane, a rescue air ambulance plane going from Philadelphia to Springfield, Missouri. And you can hear the chaos in the background of people in the neighborhood reacting to what they have just seen. Joe Holden is on the phone right now. Joe, you have more information?
You know what, Yuki, I've been listening to Mr. Walk, and I've been listening to you to describe the best idea and what we can wrap our heads around from the video we've seen. I have sources telling me that the debris field extends well beyond what you could even imagine, down to Tyson and the Boulevard, which doesn't seem too far away from here, but that's at least perhaps a quarter of a mile, which is the radius of how matter shot from this central location. And again, still working to figure out exactly what Philadelphia police are determining as far as of injuries, transports, and potential fatalities. We've not confirmed anything just yet. Again, using some sensitivity here, but this is really with Mr. Walk's description and how that aircraft comes in at the degree rating. He says 45 degrees. There's also some information suggesting that this plane was not falling, from the sky, but this plane's engines were engaged to come down at that rate of an impact. So again, with emergency responders and first responders busy trying to assess the scene and do their jobs, trying to work with them to figure out what is the latest details. To go back in history briefly, if I could, I've been listening to some police radio from the time that this all began, and to hear how officers were stretched beyond limitation, putting out fires, getting people away from fires, and also trying to get crowds the hell out of the area. It really is a testament to these first responders who were at the entrance of a mall on a Friday night at 6:07 in the evening with nothing but tons of people around and trying to get all of these people to safety. Listening to the radio gives you an exact sense, while we look at these pictures, of what rained down in Northeast Philadelphia tonight. It is almost unbelievable to imagine.
Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, we're looking at the video, and we can't believe what we're watching here. Once again, this happened just moments after 6 o'clock. This Learjet 55 just took off from the Northeast Philadelphia Airport going up to Springfield, Missouri, and something happened. Our aviation expert, Arthur Walk, kind of thought the first thing that came to his mind was a mechanical failure, but we don't know. We don't know. He doesn't know, but that was the first thing that came to his mind because it happened so suddenly. Suddenly after the plane took off from the airport. The airport is less than 5 miles from the site, this debris site that you are looking at right now. Flames everywhere, debris everywhere. People have been hurt. The extent of their injuries, we are still waiting to find out, but we do have Siafa Lewis on the scene and Kerry Corrado on the scene. They are gathering information for you right now, but until then, we have these pictures. These pictures, Joe Holden has his sources, and we are hearing the cries from the people in the neighborhood who witnessed it. It's a plane. It is a plane. A Learjet, a medical jet. Absolutely tragic and unbelievable. The information, I'm sure, will be coming in even faster as the night goes on. But Joe, in all our years, we've never seen anything like this.
No, this is something that, again, I cannot believe that the density of this area. Well, obviously, we know things like this do happen, but yet it is something that is hard to watch, and it's hard to imagine with the sources of information that we have, the visuals that we have, and listening to the audio of police over radio trying to manage impossibly difficult scenarios. And yet, as we go forward from here, an investigation now takes place, and this will have an entry in the history books as this January 31st incident in Northeast Philadelphia.
Unbelievable. And the jet fuel sprayed probably in so many places, and I'm being told that the fuel can reach temperatures of up to 1,500 degrees. A living hell.
Yuki, I was looking at some of the information being shared internally, and the FAA did provide a preliminary statement around 7:30 this evening. Now, some of it is already changed according to our sources on the ground here, but they go on to say a Learjet 55 crashed around 6:30 p.m. We know that it happened a little sooner than that after departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport. When I say sooner, I mean our timeline here from the benefit of video is around 6:07. The plane was en route, as we've been reporting, to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. The FAA and NTSB will investigate. The NTSB will lead and provide all updates. And then, as we know, there will be preliminary reports. Sadly enough, we're reminded how the timeline is now, given the situation at Reagan International. And there's just sifting through information. I have to say that I've reached out to the mayor's office. I've reached out to the mayor's spokesperson to see if there is anything that we can share from Mayor Sherelle Parker just yet on this. I am waiting to hear back. I sent that text just 3 minutes ago, so hey, I know they are busy, but wanted to let you know that we're making those inquiries.
Hey, Joe, we may have some information possibly right now. Stand by, Joe. I'm going to get back to you. City Council member Mike Driscoll, I believe, joins us on the phone. Mike, are you there? Hey, Mike. I understand this is your district where this crash happened. What are you hearing? What are your emotions as you watch what we are watching right now?
Hey, look, it's a sad night for Northeast Philadelphia. Here you have heroes on a plane that are trying to save lives. And tragically, something happened and caused this accident within 30 seconds of them leaving Northeast Airport.
Unbelievable. Mike, have you heard from any other officials, whether it be from the police or fire department or even the mayor herself? What the next move?
The mayor will be setting up a command post at the northeast corner of Cottman and Boulevard. She's been in contact with the governor. We were on site at the Office of Emergency Management. All the police officers on hand. We have all the agencies, the fire department, utilities have all been notified what has to be turned off. This is a team effort, not just right now, but this is going to go on for days.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. Mike, what is your message right now to the residents in that area who may be watching this, who may want to go out and see what happened and check on their maybe loved ones or friends? What's your message to your district right now?
Those that live in that area, listen to the leadership that are going to be knocking on doors and giving them direction. Pay attention. It's still an evolving situation. These fires take a life of their own, as we know, especially when you have gas utilities. But we are a team effort here, and everybody, it's all hands on deck. And just pray that things are successful as we move forward.
Amen to that. Mike, where were you when you heard?
I was just coming home to have dinner with my family when I got the call.
Wow. Well, as many families probably were having dinner or about to finish up when this occurred. Just an absolutely unbelievable scene. Mike, thank you so much. We appreciate you checking in.
God
All right.
bless.
God bless. Thank you, sir. Carrie Corrado. Carrie Corrado is standing by now with maybe some more information. Carrie, what have you learned?
Yuki, I actually have a 10-year-old here. His name is Declan. Hi, Declan.
Hi.
Declan, so tell everyone what you saw on the way home from hockey practice.
So I saw blinking lights coming from the sky, and I just saw them going down and down and down. And I came home, I watched TV, I saw the news, and now I'm here.
So you saw that plane literally come down from the sky.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
really scary.
Wow, and you were with your dad?
Yeah.
Yep. Tell me more about what you guys were thinking. That had to be really scary to see.
Yeah, it was really because we didn't know what it was. I just saw blinking lights. I thought it was something for the plane landing, but then I just got home and I saw it and I was like, dang, I just witnessed it. It was pretty scary.
Did you happen to see any flames or any explosion, or just kind of see the plane go down?
Yeah, I really just saw the plane go down. It was just white blinking, and then that was it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for telling me your story.
You're welcome.
All right, Yuki, so you just heard from Declan, who was with his dad coming home from hockey practice, when they say they saw the plane come down. I also spoke to a lot of people who say they saw a big fireball after this. Many of them saw it coming from overhead and then went down, and then a big fireball and smoke billowing into the air. But we are a little away from the scene right now. We are being kept back, but you can see a lot of emergency responders out here, a lot of blinking lights. It's all hands on deck as everyone responds and tries to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely a team effort, and we thank Declan as well. That's something that he will probably never forget. And it was kind of interesting. He said he just saw the white lights. He didn't see any flames or anything like that. He just saw the white lights. So that obviously, that's going to be discussed, I'm sure, in the investigation as well. When Mr. Walk said it could have been a malfunction of some sort. There were no, at least Declan didn't see any flames, just the lights. And then we saw what happened after that. All right, Carrie, we'll let you get back on the street and get more information, maybe some more interviews, and maybe even more witnesses to what you are looking at right now on this videotape. A Learjet 55 crashes in northeast Philadelphia. Moments after takeoff, a medical plane going from Philadelphia to Springfield, Missouri, just after 6 o'clock tonight, has gone down in northeast Philadelphia. All this, once again, coming off the heels of that mid-air collision, that tragic collision over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. Grant, the weather seems to be providing a little help as far as the investigation and talking to people and searching for people who may have been hurt.
Right. I mean, look, it is raining. It's been raining for most of the day, but temperatures are in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees right now. So as people are out and about and trying to figure out what's going on, while they are out in this light rain, it looks like a little area of some heavy rain is about ready to move over. You see out to the left side of your screen there, that yellow or that darker color there, that's really indicating that some heavier showers are starting to move in. And I'll zoom out and show you what we're seeing across the area, and that is just more of this steady rain. But again, temperatures are right around 50 degrees, so it's a relatively mild January evening, even though it is raining out there and the rain continues. I'll zoom out even farther to show you it's more rain on the way. So that would hamper some of these rescue and recovery efforts there as a lot of the emergency crews get out on scene and try to just survey the situation and try to get a hold of what's going on and how they can best help. I'm sure that's a feat in itself. Where do you start?
Exactly.
When you see that video of the plane coming down and the explosion and the debris field that must be. I don't know where you begin with that. That's got to be a huge challenge.
Yeah, this is going to take a long time. This is definitely going to take a long time. There's no doubt about that. If you are just joining us, we're following breaking news. A significant event. It's been described as a very graphic scene because of this. A plane leaving the Northeast Philadelphia airport crashes moments after takeoff. A medical plane, several people on board. People on the ground hurt as well. We're still waiting to hear if there are any injuries. No fatalities have been reported as of yet, and hopefully, prayerfully, it will stay that way. Let's get more information now. Siafa Lewis, as we saw earlier, is on the scene. Siafa, what do you know? Siafa, if you can hear me, your mic's not up, Siafa. We're going to try to work that out in a minute. Okay, we're standing by. You can hear horns in the background. An alarm has been set off. You can imagine it's quite a chaotic scene out there. We just lost our picture, but here's the picture we have been talking about for the evening. We'll get back to Siafa in just a little bit. Just moments after that Learjet took off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, where a lot of private planes come in and out every single day. This one was going from Philly to Springfield, Missouri, and something happened. Something happened. Is way too early to figure out what, but we know something happened, possibly mechanical, but that plane went down just moments after takeoff, less than 5 miles from the Northeast Philadelphia Airport into this community. There were reports of cars on fire, a debris field stretching for a number of yards. Traffic is snarled in that area as police, EMTs, and all the officials cordon things off so they can try to figure out how this happened and who is hurt. You can hear screams of anguish in the background. Oh my God, oh my God. And that's all you can say after seeing something like this in this neighborhood in Northeast Philadelphia. We're standing by for Siafa Lewis again, and thank you, Steve. I'm getting more reports that 6 people were on board this plane, this Learjet. Excuse me, 6 people, 2 doctors, 2 pilots, a patient, and probably a family member of the patient on that plane. And I'm sure the officials are at that crash scene right now. Boy, that's bad. That's bad. 6 people. Once again, 2 doctors, 2 pilots. It was a medical plane going from Philly to Springfield, Missouri. A patient and a family member of the patient. Just moments after takeoff, it goes down. Joe Holden's on the phone. Joe?
Yuki, I'm looking at the flight data that gives me a sense of the direction of the plane once it leaves Northeast Philadelphia Airport. We've been saying less than 5 miles in distance from point of impact, and from the airport it's actually less as the crow flies. The plane leaves the airport in a direction, southward direction from the runway. It crosses Pennypack Creek, which is then where the boulevard is crossing the creek, and sort of makes a curve and then comes around and makes this sharp descent at a rate that shows at last check of the radar it was coming down in the sky at a rate of 11,000 feet per minute.
Wow. Wow. And the result of that, Joe, if you can look at your monitor, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the result of that you can see again in this new video that we have just put on the air. To the right of you see the moment of impact, the explosion, the debris.
I see
Go ahead, Joe.
I see it. And if the plane was fully fueled, that means that it was carrying just under 7,000 pounds of jet fuel. And I'm looking actually at in that video the colors of the combustion. It almost seems that there are purple.
It did look like that, yeah.
Associated with this initial explosion. And for the benefit of our viewers at home, we're not experts, but I've seen my fair share of fires. And as Arthur Walk, our aviation expert, has described, this likely was carrying a full capacity of jet fuel upon impact.
And here's that impact once again to the right of your screen. Absolutely unbelievable. Joe, stay on the phone for about 20 seconds because we have a new interview with a man who was driving in the area at the time. Let's play that right now.
I just was driving and I saw just a lot of police activity, and then people texted me, I was close here, that there was a plane crash. And then my daughter, who GPS'd me, called me and was making sure that I was okay.
And that's what officials are doing right now, trying to find out how many people are okay, how many people have been hurt after this incident that you're looking right now. Small plane crashes in Northeast Philadelphia. There's the result. And Joe, you were talking about the color of the smoke and the fact that if this plane was fully loaded, it was like 7,000 pounds of jet fuel.
That's right. And if we want to start from the top, our timeline takes us back to 6:07 on this Friday night, when we understand from video this plane crashes near Castor Gardens in Northeast Philadelphia at the entrance to the Roosevelt Mall. And the first alarm is struck for the Philadelphia Fire Department a few moments after that. At 6:12 and then at 6:15, a second alarm goes. Not soon thereafter, a third alarm is struck, and then Philadelphia Fire declares an all-hands emergency. As fire and police rush to the scene, we have the benefit of police radio telling us that officers were met with carnage and crowds, people, debris, trying to get the folks separated from the danger, as multiple fires burned in the area, as well as businesses, other buildings, at least one home, and an untold number of cars. In this video right here, you see the officers doing their jobs, as police radio appropriately and correctly displayed for us, that these officers were telling people to get out of harm's way. This photo, one of the first we did see tonight, of the absolute wreckage and the debris across Cottman Avenue at Rupert Street. This is on the northwest side of Roosevelt Boulevard. And again, we see that from flight data, the plane takes off. It is described a Learjet 55. Yuki confirming moments ago that we've learned 6 souls aboard that plane, a medical plane by designation. The plane leaves the ground and is making its ascent. And Arthur Wolk concludes from his professional opinion, something mechanical in nature had to have happened. And as quickly as that plane was ascending, it came down, descending in less than 5 miles. And the angle of that descent, I don't know if we can find that video and pull that up, but the angle of descent was very telling. There it is, according to Arthur Wolk. Something definitely had to malfunction. And Joe, you were talking earlier about the people you were first in contact with and the way they described it all, saying it was a significant event, very graphic scene, numerous buildings and cars on fire, an absolute disaster. And that's what we're looking at right now. There was the description from one of my sources who was incredulous and sort of lost for words. And, you know, as we sort of think back about the 2 hours almost that we've been trying to learn and explain and absorb what we're hearing, what we're seeing, what we're understanding, is that, you know, some of these folks have seen the worst and are, you know, they come upon things that most of us are running from. They're running in, as the saying goes, and just described it a disaster. And then they had to get off the phone very quickly and provided us with some information. I know that the information from Councilman Mike Driscoll indicated that the mayor would be joining the command center, and I'm still waiting to hear back from the mayor's office if there's anything, again, that we can advance and share with our viewers. Clearly, they are busy. No doubt. No doubt. And they're working this disaster. Yeah, we hope to hear from the mayor and other city officials as they begin to set up for a news conference to bring us up to date. But we here at CBS Philadelphia can tell you that a small Learjet 55, has crashed in Northeast Philadelphia with 6 people on board. 6 people on board. You see the explosion there to the right of your screen. And of those 6 people, we understand 2 of them were doctors. It was a medical flight. 2 were pilots. There was a patient on board, and the family
a family member of that patient was on board as well. 6 people, and then this happened just after 6 o'clock this evening in Northeast Philadelphia as that plane was leaving to go to Springfield, Missouri. Wow, it's been quite a night. It's been quite a night, and investigators are on the scene right now, and the weather has been cooperating in this investigation right now as they try to put everything together to find people from the neighborhood that may be affected not only psychologically but physically, because that debris went everywhere. Jet fuel went everywhere. People heard it and reacted in a panic manner, as you might imagine, saying, oh my God, a plane. And that's just what happened, and you're looking at the aftermath right now. That happened just after 6 o'clock. And Grant, you were saying that the weather is okay for that investigation right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have some rain out there. They can manage the rain. It's light, maybe a little bit heavier at times, but temperatures, are, like you said, Yuki, are cooperating. It's 50 degrees in the Northeast right now. It's 50 in Philadelphia as well. So, I mean, for all intent and purposes, a very mild January evening. I mean, you're looking at temperatures could be very well into the teens, if not, colder than that, with some wind chills, and that's not the case this evening. So while they're having to deal with just sort of some damp and some wet conditions out there because of the rain, overall, I mean, the real impact would come from temperature. I'll pull up the radar and just show you the radar right now, where we do have some light showers moving across the area. I've got marked on the map there where the Northeast Philadelphia Airport is, there in the upper right-hand corner, Roosevelt Mall, just near where the crash site is. And I'll zoom out and show you. It's light rain. There's some heavier pockets here or there, Yuki, but overall, we don't have any thunder or lightning or anything like that. That would be an issue. So it's just some light rain. They'll manage that.
And here it is, like 2 hours or so after impact, and we're just getting word. Hopefully, the weather has played a part, and the investigation as far as putting the fire out. Anyway, the fire out. The fire department has just called us and says the fires are under control.
That's good
right now. So that's good. That was good to hear. These are the fires that happened earlier, but these are now under control. Go ahead, Grant.
Yuki, we can never suspect, what caused this crash. We look at all things, as journalists, you try to, look at all the facts and just put all the facts out there until the officials are able to do their investigations and, of course, get down to the exact cause of this. But as I was looking at the weather conditions, we all know it's been a cloudy, it's been a dreary, it's been a wet day. The cloud cover was down to around 400 feet right over the airport at takeoff. So, maybe they briefly went up into that low cloud deck. I think some of our reporting was showing that they climbed up to an altitude of around 1,200 feet and then came back down. So they were easily up into the clouds at that time, which would almost drop down that visibility to near zero. Our aviation expert was saying that they most likely were having to use that artificial horizon,
right,
which gives them that idea of exactly where they are in relationship to Earth and the sky, so they know where they are. They're using their instruments, and from there we can only we just have to wait to find out what was the cause of this.
And because of that cloud cover, we can only provide these ground pictures right now and video that has been sent into us. We couldn't get our chopper up. Our chopper cannot fly when the ceiling is low when it comes to cloud cover. We continue to cover this story. Josh Sanders, I believe, is on the scene right now. Josh, where are you, and what more can you tell us?
Hey, Yuki, good evening. Good to be with you. We are on the opposite side of Roosevelt Boulevard, so you can see behind me Roosevelt Mall. I actually had to park about a 15-minute walk away from where our crew is right now. That's just because this area is so congested. We've been talking about that all throughout the night. This is a very busy intersection when it comes to Northeast Philadelphia. And so what I've seen so far is just a lot of people here. I walked through one of the neighborhoods that was impacted. There's a lot of people just in shock right now. They're taking this moment in. They really don't know how to feel. As I walked past people, you could just see there was a daze kind of in their eyes, just taking this moment in as we are waiting to find out more information about what happened. I do have an update. We were just told by Philadelphia police they should be holding a press conference around here in about 20 minutes. We hope to find out more information of what's happening right now. I want to be careful with what I tell you, what I saw as I walked over here. I'm just going to be, I'm not going to be specific at all. I'm just going to speak in broad terms of what I saw because, again, we don't have a lot of the details. What I saw as I walked through, and Philadelphia police allowed me to walk through because we are media. I do want to say anyone else that isn't media or a first responder, you don't need to be here right now. You just don't. You need to let the officials do their jobs right now. But what I saw is debris from that plane spread throughout the Roosevelt Mall parking lot. I did speak to one officer who told me that that there's the potential for casualties and evidence within that area, and so that's why right now investigators are doing what they're doing. First responders are here right now. I was able to see where the plane crashed, where one of those row homes were on fire. Obviously a lot of engines there, a lot of first responders there as we continue to just gather information as to what happened. But I think right now the moment is very surreal for people. It's very shocking for people, especially in light of what took place in the nation's capital. This is something that feels very heavy for people here in Northeast Philadelphia and for our city. But again, in about 20 minutes, we should hear from law enforcement officials. They'll give us an update on what they can tell us and what we will, obviously tell those watching us right now.
Hey, Josh, you said you saw the impact, or not the impact, but the point of impact. When you saw that, was it anywhere from our vantage point? It looked like it was behind one of the row homes near the mall. Could you tell if it hit a house or not, one of the row homes, or was it an open area, a parking lot in front of the mall? What could you see from your vantage point?
What it looked like to me, Yuki, and I want to be careful because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but what it looked like from my vantage point was the crash area was in front of a group of row homes. There looked to be damage to one of the row homes. Oh, sorry, there was somebody yelling. There's damage to one of the row homes. It looked like that was a row home that was on fire. I know that there's a number of video out there right now on social media and going across social media platforms right now. Obviously, we're working hard to get video that we know is, a video of what happened. But again, here mentioned that they said the fire was put out. It probably was that row home because it did look like there was burnt areas on the row home and damage to this row home. But what I will say is I walked across, this was across the street from Roosevelt Mall. And you have a huge parking lot here. Ross, Dunkin' Donuts, stores here, a Macy's. I saw debris from the plane throughout the parking lot.
Wow.
So you can just imagine that, it probably 40 yards away where the potential of this plane coming down around this neighborhood, and then you had debris that flew 40, 50 yards into the Roosevelt Mall parking lot. And as we work to find out the number of casualties, of course, we know that there were 6 individuals on that aircraft heading to Missouri, a medical aircraft, our medical flight. We don't know what the casualties were on the ground. We're working to find out that information. It looks like we're about to have a press conference with the Philadelphia Police Department. So we're getting ready for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this microphone on the stand.
Go ahead.
And then we can take a listen, okay?
You got it, Josh. We will definitely come back to you when it starts. But as you can see, the mayor should be there very soon, along with other officials from the city of Philadelphia to discuss the crash of this Learjet 55. Let's talk about it more right now and go back out to the scene. I believe Carrie Corrado is standing by with more information. Carrie?
Yuki, this is all hands on deck. Every police officer, every firefighter is here trying to help. Everywhere you look, you can see flashing police lights here, and people are out really trying to figure out what exactly is going on. I spoke with a man who says he saw the explosion from the crash, and then he got out of his car and he just ran. Another man says he saw a massive fireball, and then another young boy we spoke with say he saw the plane coming down. Many people are also out here showing me some videos that they have that captured the plane coming down and then the massive explosion after that. So many people captured this on their Ring camera or on their cell phones. There's many witnesses accounts because many people live, work, and shop around here. People are everywhere. So are emergency responders, like I mentioned. Everywhere you look, you can see police running around trying to figure this all out. The entire area, though, traffic-wise, is gridlocked. Streets and roads are blocked off, and we were even rerouted all over the place. So it's very difficult to get around here if you live around here. It's also raining, so investigators and emergency responders are battling all of this through the rain. Investigators are here trying to figure out exactly what happened, but overall, a very chaotic scene here.
No doubt about that. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Once again, if you are just joining us, a small plane, a Learjet 55, has crashed in northeast Philadelphia. 6 people on board, 2 doctors, 2 pilots, a patient, a family member of that patient as well. That's the moment of impact, just after 6 o'clock. Just after 6 o'clock outside of the Roosevelt Mall. And that's where our reporters are right now. And they're going to stay on the scene as we continue to get more information. Let's get more information right now, if we can, on the phone. I believe Joe Holden is standing by with that. Joe?
I'm with you, Yuke, and if you have to cut me off, please do so. I'll stop talking. Trying to get a sense of the debris field here, and I've asked our control room to pull up a map that might give us a sense somewhat a little closer up. Well, we're going to wait for the press conference. I'll toss it back to you, Yuke.
Well, you know what, Joe? We're going to keep an eye on these microphones right now, and then if the mayor or other officials step to it, I'll let you know, and we will take it. But sure. Continue with your thought, please.
Sure. So if we have a map, and if we don't want to go to the map, I'll just explain that from my own assessment, it looks like debris fields scattered as far south as Tyson Avenue at the Boulevard, also about eastward toward St. Matt's at Wellington. So you see the Boulevard there. Go to that next parallel street of Cottman Avenue. That's Tyson. Mm-hmm. So Tyson at the Boulevard, there's debris there. There's debris reported at where you see and in the Chiron there, Cottman Avenue and Roosevelt Boulevard. A friend in the area told me, a secretary from that parish there at St. Matthew, former St. Matt's secretary, said blocks from the church thought a car hit her house that it shook so bad. So blocks on the other side of the boulevard from where this plane crashed. People felt it, immediately had a reaction, and the debris field appears to be widening, which I'm told now by my sources that if you have something on your property, it obviously is likely connected to this, to call 911.
Right. That's going to be crucial parts of the investigation.
And indeed, and it is best just to leave it, to not to touch it, and just to notify authorities. Now, police may clarify that and give a number to the NTSB. Obviously, we'll wait for that. But I'm told as they are gathering around that bank of microphones that they are assembling the team that will be addressing this. And as you've noted, that may take a few moments. So we're continuing to work our sources as best we can, but they are tied up, to say the least.
All right, Joe, you stand by. We're continuing to look at the video of this awful, awful, tragic accident right now. Still no official reports of fatalities, but a small Learjet crash moments after takeoff, after leaving the airport in northeast Philadelphia, where many small private planes are held and are in the area there, and they took off. It took off about just after 6, and then at 6:07 we got reports and Ring camera video of the moment of impact. 6 people on board that plane, 2 doctors, 2 pilots, a patient, and a family member. Right now we are going to the press conference. Right now you can see many officials, fire officials, on the scene. This is Mayor Cherelle Parker, and she's going to explain what she knows thus far. There's the police commissioner right behind her.